You are watching the #1 podcast in the whole entire youth wrestling community, and I'm one of your hosts, Juanzo.
And I'm your other host, Jean-Paul Leek.
And together we are Road Break. How's every single one of you? Welcome to another episode of Road Break, and it's time to talk about NXT, Tuesday show, and a lot of good things. Like you said, the show started out like the first hour and a half, probably really good. Then up to like Legado del Fantasma, then it's like, so LA Knight being dropped out once again, so... But, a little bit like good storytelling. Remember we mentioned that there was going to be a pay-per-view right after SummerSlam. They have to confirm that. So what do you think overall of this show?
Yeah, overall, I thought this was actually a pretty good episode of NXT. They still, like AEW, they still do some of the same stuff they always do wrong. It's like they can't ever get it right. But, some of the stuff here, the main meat and potatoes, like we always like to say, of this program, I thought were real good. So overall, thumbs up for me for NXT.
Yeah, and also like we're saying that in the next 2 weeks they're going to be actually switching up to Sci-Fi. They're not going to be on the USA Network because of the Olympics. So there you go. We always like to help you out so like you guys can see where all the shows take place and what channels are they on. Don't forget also to support us. Jean-Paul actually like yesterday he left me. He said no more Monday Night Raw for me. Screw you. Go with Santos and Legado del Fantasma. Go with your buddies. But Nikki Ash in the end saves the show from Bill Goldberg, and Karrion Kross being dropped out. At least we got no more words back, right, Paul?
Yeah, I mean, Jeff Hardy winning. Yeah, he put his foot on the ropes to cheat and all that to beat, Karrion Kross. But this isn't a good look for Karrion Kross for the NXT Championship. And are you really going to do anything with Jeff Hardy? Probably not. And we also saw Keith Lee. He came back and, he answered the challenge from Bobby Lashley. I don't think the title was on the line or anything, but, it was just for a match. And, he got beat in a pretty convincing fashion. I wouldn't say Lashley ever looked in danger. And then the main thing, Goldberg came out and Lashley looked like he shit his pants. So who are you really trying to get over? A future star, Keith Lee, or Bill Goldberg, who is in the last year of his contract and only has to wrestle 3 matches a year? So
Exactly. So family, but in the name of Jean-Paul and myself, thank you for a great weekend of wrestling. A lot of views, YouTube, on Twitch, everywhere, on Facebook. Thank you so very much. Keep doing so. We have a lot of surprises for you guys. So this show started with Samoa Joe. Remember last week he actually went to sleep. So he's really pissed off, and he just wants Karrion Kross. He really wants that match. It seems like he's really clear to wrestle. So he's like, so I want Kross, all of that. William Regal comes out. No. It's an intensity in Regal. No, none of that crap. And he says, well, you got to be legit. Remember, no, you don't have to hurt him or anything. But, you see Samoa Joe is like, it's my time. And, somebody's going to go to sleep tonight. Right, Paul?
Yeah, this was good. He's like, oh, Joe, he attacked you as a referee. We agreed to attack you, as pretty much like an official. And he's like, don't even be, being bullshit with the semantics of it. He attacked me. I was provoked. So that gives me clearance to go after him, and that's pretty much what I'm going to do. And then you saw the stare down and everything. So this was good. Like I said, this was the main story of this episode of NXT, and that's really what carried it, I thought.
Exactly. And Regal, remember, he wanted to quit because he couldn't, keep the peace in the show. So once again, they don't want me anymore. I cannot I cannot keep the show together. But, it was a good beginning of the show. Then we got to see Bobby Fish and Kushida going against Tyler Rust and also Roderick Strong. A pretty good match, and Roderick Strong is looking really great right now. In a heel fashion. But Bobby Fish, Paul, he impressed me really good. The way the intensity, also how good he's in the ring. I never saw Bobby Fish in that kind of a light until now. I don't know what it was, but I'm actually rooting for Bobby Fish.
Yeah, they had Bobby Fish. He was looking real good in this. He started off, really just aggressive, real strong, and he
dominating.
And then he was kind of getting a little bit distracted, whether that was his aggression towards Roderick Strong or whatever. And then you saw they were taking advantage of it. And at the end of it, he makes the big tag to Kushida, because in the beginning, Kushida was kind of the one who was getting jobbed, getting beat up a little bit. And I thought, oh man, the Cruiserweight champion's not looking too good in this match. He should be a guy who, you still try to protect, still try to make him look good. But he came in at the end, cleared house, and eventually he got his submission on, 1, 2, 3. Not 1, 2, 3, but the submission, and then the tap out and everything. And this was a good match to showcase both these guys. Like you said, Fish looks great, Roderick Strong looks great, Kushida, the champion, still looks good. I think this is eventually leading to something where the belt goes to Roderick Strong and then maybe to Bobby Fish. I don't know, but I think this is a pretty good feud, so far though.
Yeah,
We
no,
just
it was
need to
good.
see. The only thing I was actually thinking is I wouldn't have been upset if Diamond Mine would have won again, because that would have been 2 weeks in a row that they get momentum. But we'll have to wait and see where this goes.
Yeah, I don't know how far they're gonna push them. I think that like the promos were good, the vignettes now that he introduced to who they are and all of that, but I don't know if they're gonna actually really cash in out of that. But like you said, Kushida looks good and he has to. He's the champion. Maybe one of those guys will be challenging him. Now let's go to like LA Knight and Cameron Grimes. He's the butler and he says like, "Hey, grab my bags," and he has like 10,000 bags. And then Drake Maverick shows up. He tries to help out Cameron Grimes, and it's like, no, you don't help him out. It's like, that's my butler. That's his job. You don't have to do anything. So, of course, that sets up a match. And like you said, like, LA Knight is really legit, but like this goofy stuff, this week is not good. It didn't work for me. And Cameron Grimes, I don't know how long they want to do this, but this needs to change quick because I'm not a fan of like neither one in this fashion. And Drake Maverick, really, you don't have anybody else.
Yeah, I don't care that the guy cried on Twitter, "Oh, I got fired, boo-hoo, this and that." He came back, joked with Killian Dane. He's still a joke. He's always been a joke. I don't know how this guy didn't get fired, but somebody like Samoa Joe and all these other guys did. But yeah, no, this wasn't good. And I'm thinking, oh, this will at least be a 3-minute match, and LA Knight will just beat this guy up. Well, I had a short match, correct, but not the right winner.
Oh yeah, exactly. So like we're gonna shit on that. Just give me a second, Paul. Yeah. So like very quick, family. We mentioned there's gonna be a pay-per-view right after SummerSlam. So August 22nd, 2021. There's gonna be another takeover. That's probably when Samoa Joe and Karrion Kross is gonna take place, and maybe that will be the send-off for Karrion Kross to the main roster. He debuted yesterday. Not a good debut. Jean Paul already mentioned that. So let's go to Frankie Monet. Really quick match. Another one with like JC Jane. And I mean, what's there to say? Like we said, Frankie needs a real opponent now. Enough of like these job matches. Enough of like quick stuff. Like give me a real wrestler that can go against her. I mean, Jessica Maya was right there because Aaliyah's traded to Monday Night Raw, and also we got to see Mandy Rose. But in the end, what was that? 3 minutes and the roll to Valhalla, and 1, 2, 3, and that's it.
Yeah, and I think with Mandy Rose is I just saw the other day, maybe yesterday, Dana Brooke is pregnant. So that's probably why Mandy Rose got sent here to NXT, because it's like, well, you were in a tag team with Dana. Dana's no longer here. We don't have anything for you, so go to NXT. So I mean, I think that'll work out better for Mandy Rose. She'll probably be featured in more serious storylines. But this is good, and Frankie gets a good win, and we'll have to see where this goes. Maybe it'll be her, Mandy Rose, Jessie Kamea. Who knows? But like you said, we need a real opponent for Frankie, whether it's Io, somebody. Maybe she'll lead Kamea and Mandy Rose to the tag titles, and they'll take them from Io and Zoe. We don't know, but I do like
it's a good plan that you have right there. It could be two baby faces right there. You have heels, and maybe Frankie can be the one managing them. Who knows? But like you said, also Dana Brooke is pregnant, and actually she's engaged. She just got engaged because of the pregnancy. So congratulations to her. I'm sorry, you're never gonna be champion. It's fine. Have your baby. You're good. Learn how to spell my name. I still have the autograph. Haun, not Juan. All right, thank you so very much. Yeah, it's fine. We go to Austin Theory. Paul, he seems like he's gonna be parting ways with the way. He debuted a new theme song. He has like more intensity. It seems no more goofiness. Hey, I'm done, right? Yeah, no. I want to be legit one more time. Why, Paul? There's a lot of reports that they might bring him back to the main roster once again. So it could be cool for him. And then he was saying to Kyle O'Reilly, let's see, have a match. Let's see who the most legit guy is. So what did you think? I feel that like Austin Theory is a pretty great wrestler. But you're not gonna job Kyle O'Reilly anymore because that's for Adam Cole. Adam Cole is the one.
Like I said, if Austin Theory had a famous last name, like if his last name was Flair, or like The Rock, like Dwayne Johnson, or something like that, this guy would be pushed. Yeah, exactly. Leek, whatever. This guy would be pushed because he's so good. He has the size, he has the charisma, he's everything. There's not a single thing that this guy's missing. I don't see it. He had great intensity in this match. It like I said, he looked so good in this. But is O'Reilly gonna lose? No, he gets that heel hook or whatever, and then we get the submission victory. But Austin Theory is so good. Like you said, the theme song, it still was like Johnny Gargano's. They just had like some kind of singing or rapping over top of it, but it was still like that, how Gargano's theme song is. So still sort of similar. But later on with what we saw, it seems like the way is pretty much done. But this guy, I think if it wasn't for his allegations and all that stuff, he would probably still be on the main roster and at least be tag team champ, if not, maybe a
or
mid
at least
card.
United States champ, like being featured like at least on a mid card, like by a solid mid card, he will be like you said, Austin Theory, because like he like you said, he has everything to be a
He
great
could have been
wrestler.
a guy when he debuted at what was it, last year's WrestleMania,
Yeah,
and if he would have just stayed on the main roster, he probably would have been in Money in the Bank this year.
yeah, and
Like
probably
he's
very close
good.
to win it.
Yeah.
Maybe Big E would have done the Big E on the big ending on him. So yeah, you're right. I agree with you 100%. So now let's go with like a guy that's like, so I lost. It took me 14 years, and then I lost it in like 2 months. So Bronson Reed is like saying all of that, and he's like, "Well, I need to fight harder. I need to push harder. I need to like, put more effort in what I do. I need to just be better, 10 times better than what I was." And he's like, "Well, way better." He's like, "Well, you're gonna face Adam Cole, so and then it's gonna be my send off." So yeah, I mean, do you like this? I'm not a big fan of Bronson Reed, so for me, it's like, okay, like yeah, quick, let's go, keep going.
Yeah, I didn't understand like what this whole, because like we saw him on Raw, we saw this, and then now I knew there was going to be something with what we saw last week with him and Adam Cole, but they're kind of making it a lot bigger than I feel it should be. It should, like, why are you having a sit down interview? What's all this? Just book the match for next week. You know what I mean? They're making it. It's not for a title. It's not like a #1 contender. We all know he's going to Monday Night Raw. So it's like, what the hell? What is this?
Just why is this needed, right? There's no, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I mean, they're gonna have the match next week. So of course, we gotta give you the picture. If not, I get yelled at on Twitter and everything. And there you go. So like, I mean, Adam Cole needs to win. This is Adam Cole. Like he's on fire, and like you said, the promo work that he has, everything that he's done, is so good that like you're not gonna job him to Bronson Reed. Easy, he can lose. Go to Monday Night Raw. It's fine. Nobody cares because clearly Vince McMahon doesn't give a damn about NXT. So there you go. It's not going to matter whether he wins or loses. So it's fine. So let's go to like Raquel. Raquel just got a promo. Like Ozaya wanted the match. I'm going to beat her. I'm the most dominant woman in this roster. Mamita, mamacita. If you want it, forget about it. No, no, it's not your night. It's my night. So then Zaya will retaliate. So I'm going to be the first Chinese NXT Women's Champion. So she's like intense. I like that. But what do you think about both promos?
Oh, I mean, both promos were good. And that's the one thing I like is when you think of wrestling, or at least like you think like the NWA, stuff like that, where it's like the national world. It's like wrestling from all over. I like how you have Spanish, you have Chinese, you also have like Japanese with Kushida. I like how you have like all these different nationalities. Diversity. Yeah, all this diversity, it makes it feel like, oh, this is a world championship, because it's not just white people, or it's not just Hispanic, it's everybody who's challenging.
It's the whole world, yeah, exactly. Yeah, like exactly. Everybody has participation.
So that always makes it feel cool. So I liked it, and I just wish the match. We'll talk about the match.
When we get to the match, it wasn't that good. You're right. We're not gonna give you that sneak peek. It wasn't that good. But you mentioned like Hispanic. Let's go to the mariachi, baby. There you go. We're going to see Legado del Fantasma Mariachi Madness musical. Yesterday, we saw the Symphony of Destruction, so NXT has to go around the same stuff. But, like, they didn't give me any music, so I was pissed off. I was like, I wanted, like, be Roddy Piper with the Cucaracha, right, Paul? A&E biography. But, like, Santos Escobar is like, ¿saben qué? No los necesito el día de hoy. So he's like, I don't need you guys. Just go, like, just go down. I don't need them. So he starts cutting a promo about he was going to give us like tradition. He was going to give us roots, like all the Mexican tradition with the mariachi and the music that they're really well known for that. And then Hit Row came out, and then they kind of, like you said, the girl talking kind of like really took it down for me, because of the promo should have been Isaiah Swerve Scott. That's the leader. That's the guy that should be talking for them. But I like how Santos called her pendeja. That was really good.
Yeah, I mean, this was good. Like Santos, I think they're really trying to turn him babyface, because he said, he fought for that title. He gave his blood, sweat, all this stuff, and he's like, and that's what Legado stands for. Family, tradition, heritage, all this stuff. So it's like, but he's kind of cutting it more in a babyface manner. And before, when he did almost the same promo, but you clearly could tell he's a heel. And yeah, Hit Row, I'm still high on the group because Swerve Scott is so good. But the other guys, they do like 80% of the talking, the other three, and it should be like, yeah, they can say a few words, they can be there, but the main guy really should be Swerve doing a lot of the talking. And like I said, when the girl, whoever that is, Storm from the X-Men or Jade Cargill or whoever, well, like when she cuts a promo, she could get all this heat, but what's Santos going to do? Smack her? No. Yeah. So she can be until they get a girl or somebody to beat her up, she's going to have the most heat out of everybody, because you never see her get beat up.
You're right. And also, Paul, like he gave a great idea. He told me, he texted me, he's like, why don't you bring Catalina or Katrina, like her Katerina, like her new name that she has. And also, like, she's really good friends with Santos Escobar. So it will, and she's on NXT. So just get the girl. She's like, get her and do a 4 against 4. Just get her. Like, it's a no-brainer. Just do it. Because, like, they went at it, like a Kid Rose started attacking, like out del Fantasma. Santos got the guitar, and then he was about to hit like Zaya Sir Scott with it, but the girl took the guitar away from him, and actually they used it on the other members of Legado del Fantasma. I think it was Joaquin, right?
Yeah, I think that was either Wild or Mendoza.
I think it was Wild. Yeah, and then they did it on him. So like you see, the rivalry still taking place. Like this is, and like you said, if they book it the way you mentioned, it will be great. Because 4 against 4, that's fine. I mean, the title doesn't need to be on the line. I mean, if you want to have the title on the line, just wait for like takeover and then just have the singles match. But this is going to be good if they find the girl. Because like you said, this could be like a really interesting match. But for the now, they're trying to push Hit Row. They like what they're doing. I mean, I don't like when they wrap the whole thing. But for me, like you said, Isaiah Swerska needs to be more in the focal point, and he's not. So
yeah, I would say you can drag this out to the takeover after SummerSlam. That would be a perfect time to do the singles match. And I really think, hey, Santos has to suffer the same treatment Swerve Scott did. I think, he has to lose as a babyface. I don't think you can take the title off Swerve Scott just yet. Maybe you kind of got to rebrand Legado. I don't know. Or maybe, the feud continues. They get the tag titles, Hit Row does, and then, I don't know. There's a lot you could do, but you got to really get somebody over from this. You can't have it be like, 1 week they lose, the next week they win, and then nobody gets over.
Exactly, you're right. They need to but Scott for me needs to be the focal point, and because that's what Santos does, Mendoza and Wild. We don't care about them really, but it's about Santos. So, Paul, let's talk about the breakthrough tournament because Andrew Chase, he's gonna chase something. He went to chase, he's gonna chase a loss. Against, like you said, Mark Henry, like make sure like a lot like Bronson Reed with Mark Henry, like they just fusion them or something. But like Odyssey Jones, this was like really quick also, and this tournament is giving like the idea that like the big guys, the most powerful ones, are gonna go over, and then he got the win, which it made sense. So like he advances into the tournament, and this is like I'm looking for like still newer stars because the guys that I've seen, I mean, it makes sense that they win, but nothing out of the ordinary for me yet.
Yeah, there hasn't been a match that's been like, oh my God, this is crazy, kind of like we saw last year. Like Angel Garza put on some really good matches and stuff in this tournament. But Odyssey, he looks, obviously the guy's massive. I think he'll match up good with what was it, Duke or whatever his name was from last week, the real big
Duke Jones.
Yeah, I think he'll match up good with him. But the other guy, what was his name?
Andre Chase.
Yeah, Chase. When he he looked pretty good too. But I mean, the kind of his singlet looks a little weird. It looks like he has like collars. Like it looks kind of goofy. But he did some like flip or dive to the outside and landed like right on his neck. That didn't look too good. So I was kind of like,
it's kind of like he's trying to show off for AEW. That's why he's like, get injured, break my neck.
You know what I mean? And that might be where he ends up sooner than later. But this was all right. I mean, it wasn't, it was all right. That was pretty much it.
Yeah. So let's move on. And William Regal is just mentioning to Samoa Joe, you need to calm down. Stop. Like what Karrion Kross is gonna show up anytime, but you gotta keep it legit. Remember, it's like so. Samoa Joe's like fuck off. You don't tell me what to do. It's all good. It's fine. So Paul, MSK. Like we haven't seen them, and the show's been good. And we got 5 minutes of it. It wasn't too bad. And the interviewer, she goes, "Oh, what is MSK stands for?" And then we're gonna say something about that, and then just also mention who's gonna be the next challenger. And you see Imperium in the mix. So what do you think? To me,
Imperium they cut a good promo. I mean, MSK is trash. That's really all I have to say about them. But Imperium cut a good promo. They're like, oh, you have bullshit luchadors, you have wannabe rappers, you have a tag team champions that nobody cares about and respects, especially Jean-Paul Laec. And I was like, thanks for the shout out, boys. But they cut a good promo. But the same with them, weren't they getting beat up by MSK and Ciampa and Thatcher and all?
All of a sudden legit.
No, they're not. They can talk all the legitness they want. If I go back, 3 weeks ago you lost to this team. 5 weeks ago you lost to this team.
Where are both of them? Gone. Yeah.
Yeah, so to me, you can cut all, the most legit promo in the world. If I look at your previous matches and you lost a lot of them, words only fall, go so far. Let's see
Exactly.
you win
You
in
need
the
to
ring.
back it up with results. So like we'll see what happens. I mean, they also have like Pete Dunne and they just got in a promo because they're going to have a match, with Oney Lorcan going against Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher. This is going to be good, and this for me should be like the number one contender for those titles. And whoever wins it should challenge for them in a match and then win those titles because you're like wasting. Three main event players. I don't know if you ever put like Timothy Thatcher into the main event, but at least a mid card, But this makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and to me, you have Imperium is better. These two are better. Ciampa and Thatcher are better. That's at least 3 tag teams better than your current tag team champions. It's like the fact that the belts are on them and not any of these 3 teams is just, it's laughable.
It is, and like the tag team division is not good is because they don't book it good. They don't want to. They have. I mean, they make these teams all of a sudden, but they should be fighting for those titles.
And I feel like it's like they signed MSK. They had high hopes, and they're like, man, like this isn't working out, but we don't want to give up on it yet. And it's like, you know what? Just give up. Just cut the losses. If they were that legit, Impact would have held on to them a lot tighter than they did.
And you know what they wanted? You know what? Who they really wanted? They wanted Trey Miguel. That's what it is. And but like so I'd rather be in Impact. They pay me more, whatever. So it's like yeah, give me this, give me the other 2 guys. So we'll pay like 3 times less than what we're gonna give to Trey Miguel. So that's fine. So like a lot of tension in the way. So that's why you see us in theory. So maybe I should leave. You see like Indy fighting with Candice, Johnny, all of that. So it seems like one member of the way by me exiting out, and that might be Austin Theory. He's like, I don't want to see this crap. Like this sucks. And we all agree to that. And
this was actually the one thing I thought was funny. The 3. They're on the left. They're all arguing. Candice is like, "Oh, Johnny, we lost the titles. You lost to Karrion Kross. Austin, you're challenging people who clearly you can't beat. What the hell's wrong with you?" They all start arguing, and then Indy's like, "Guys, stop being so mean to Austin. If he wants to kiss Dexter Lumis, he should." And they're like, "Huh?" Like what? They clearly Indy was like she's talking about herself, but she said like Austin, and they're like, "What?" So then they all start arguing, and he's like, "Screw this shit!" Like he said, he leaves. So this might be something like the way needs to break up. Like we said, if you weren't going to give them the tag titles while Johnny was either North American or NXT, if you weren't going to do them all with gold and be like, "Oh, we're legit," then just break.
We run the show, like stuff like that. That never happened. So just split them up. Nobody cares, Candice is fine with Johnny. Maybe have them fight like you said against Indy and Dexter. That actually made sense. Do that, it would have been a lot better. But, this is when the show started to go down. And you want to go really more down? Yeah, that's how low it was. Like, as low as, like, LA Knight. Freaking, like, loses to Drake Maverick. It was the most effective move in the WWE, right? We say it day in, day out. Like, freaking roll up. And this sucks. Like, the guy is great.
I mean, yeah, it's not like, you kind of saw, it was like, oh, I wasn't going to say Dexter Cameron Grimes is out there. And, yeah, maybe he's a little bit of a distraction or anything, but this shouldn't – I don't care. I don't care if LA Knight's mom came out and was getting, railed on the stage by William Regal. I don't really care what the distraction was, what anything could have been. LA Knight should just beat Drake Maverick in the middle of the ring, 1, 2, 3. It should have been nothing like that. And then he could have been kicking the shit out of him after the match. Oh, man, that really gets him heat. He beat up the small guy, and now he's kicking the shit out of him. Ooh, boo, boo. Cameron Grimes comes in to make the save. Oh, hooray. No, Cameron, you're going to kick the shit out of him, too. And because he's the butler, Cameron kicks the shit out of him, and, ooh, that gets him more heat. But instead, you had the little guy beat up LA Knight, so haha, let's laugh at him. And now he kicks the shit out of him and just go, he's a sore loser, instead of being, he's an asshole. We want to see him get beat up. It's like, he's a sore loser. So this sucks.
And they don't know how to book LA Knight. Clearly, they don't know how to book him. It's not the first time that they job him out. So like he's been there, 4 months.
They don't
already.
know how to book. They don't know how to book heat. They don't know how to book heat and have people keep this heat. They just go, you can get heat in 1 week. You can just hit an old woman with a chair, and you have heat now.
Yeah, if you don't believe us, Xavier Woods beating Bobby Lashley. There you go. And at least they rectified that, in a small way, the way that he beat up Kofi Kingston. But here, they don't know how to book that at all. So remember, next week, we're going to see what we already mentioned. These 4 guys, they should be, again, number 1 contender. They don't want to say it. We don't really care. And also, like, the next match for the NXT Record Tournament is going to be Carmelo Hayes. We've seen him a lot of times already. And Josh Briggs. So we'll see. I mean, I'm thinking Carmelo's going to win because he's been exposed a lot more into NXT. So we'll see what happens. But now, Paul, tell me a little bit about the NXT Women's Championship match. Xia Li against Raquel Gonzalez.
Yeah, I mean, in the beginning, it wasn't too bad. Like Raquel, she looked pretty good. Xia Li was trying to use her speed and, just her own striking ability. But Raquel, she used the strength, and obviously overpowered her opponent. And then, when it goes to the commercial break, that's kind of when you saw Xia Li get a lot of heat, get her heat, start to beat up the champ, even though they're both heels. So I don't really know if she got heat, but anyway, she's beating her up, going after the leg and everything. Like they said, oh, she's really attacking that leg of Raquel, blah, blah, blah. But, then as soon as they come back from commercial, because, we can't see the heels get, any heat on, TV, that only has to be in picture. Then Raquel starts dominating again, and we see this. And, I think the way she hit her, because Xia Li's pretty small and Raquel's pretty big. I'm not saying she's fat, she's just really tall, and tall and muscular. So she, hits this on her, and I don't know if it knocked the wind out of her or what it did, but the match kind of came to a screeching halt, and everybody's like, and I'm thinking, I honestly didn't even see that when it happened at first. And I was just like, well, maybe, did she shoot on her to be like, oh, this is for Mercedes, bitch? And like, she knocked her out. I'm like, what happened? Yeah. And then I saw the replay and I'm like, that must have just been a freak accident. Cause you don't try to hurt somebody with that, No,
like you said, it was the first time that it was debuted in the move, and it seemed like a baiter bomb, but like then she turned it into like screw
it. She almost did like a tornado and just like a twisting, like splash and whatever, exactly. Or senton. But then, Xia Li's like, no, I'm good. And as soon as she stands back up, it was that big, one-arm choke bomb, choke slam, whatever, 1, 2, 3. And I think that took a little bit of a longer time than they wanted because they didn't want no run over. It's like, oh, you're winner and still champion. Raquel Gunn, Samoa Joe comes storming to the ring. And it's like, oh, okay, I guess, so much for the championship celebration. But it was a match thrown together in 2 weeks. So do we even need a celebration? No. But
exactly. And, like right there, like I lose on Monday night. Nobody gives a fuck. Nobody watches Monday Night Raw, right? Like everybody watches just NXT. Look at the size of those bags right here. Really? Look at this. The guy didn't even sleep at all.
Would you be able to sleep if you lost to Jeff Hardy, the guy who hasn't won a match in months?
I know, and I won in 2 seconds. Okay, and there was a lot of reports coming out that like a lot of talent was really frustrated because like they said Adam Cole was pissed off, Santos Escobar was pissed off, Finn Balor pissed off. A lot of guys say like we put all the sweat and tears to make the guy look dominant.
I love the Prince, but let's see how he's booked on SmackDown because I might have to shoot on him for a little bit.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. So like, but he says, you know what, like I'm the NXT champion, so that allows me to do whatever I want to whoever I want, whenever I want. So you write all of that, and he says, well, Samoa Joe, I think I did something, like to somebody that you might know. And he beat William Regal, so pretty much right there. And then he leaves in the car. Samoa Joe's like, so, and then he's a little slow to run, like he doesn't come a lot of sprint. But this is how the show ends.
Well, I mean, realistically, that is kind of far. You have to run out of the ring through the building to go outside and everything. So I won't blame Joe for that one. But no, I mean,
he sold it.
Well, this is good because now you saw Regal. No, you can't challenge him. No, blah, blah, blah. Now Regal, obviously, you didn't kill him. So, next week when Regal's back, he'll be like, you know what, Joe, let's get this fucker. Like, go in there and you kick his ass. Because now he came after me. Like, because the line Samoa Joe said in the first segment, he's like, you thought you could control Karrion Kross. You can't. Like, you can't control him just like this with words. He only knows one language, and that's action. I mean, that's not what he said. That's just, I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah, I'm Polish translating. Yeah,
it's like to get the point across to this guy, you got to kick his ass. So I think Regal's going to finally agree with Joe, and, they're going to book the match, hopefully for that. And, I mean, hey, if you really want to get the fans back, Samoa Joe, this is different than putting the title on a Goldberg or, no offense. I know they didn't do it in his old age, but like putting the title on an Undertaker, somebody like that who, okay, yeah, they're a legend, they're popular, but they can't go 200 days a year. Somebody like Samoa Joe, barring any concussions or anything like that, and injuries, yeah, he could wrestle, he could be your champ full time. A legend, they can't. Samoa Joe still has some gas left in the tank. If they put the title on him, that's good, because Joe can be a great heel, he can be a great baby face, he can get anybody over who you put in the ring with him. So to me, if Samoa Joe is your NXT champion after August 22nd, I'm fine with it.
And like all I can finish with like everything that you said is just like everybody respects Samoa Joe. So it just doesn't, is a no-brainer. Another one.
It's not like, I'm sure people respect Johnny, but if you would have put the title, now that we saw him lose to Jeff Hardy, him losing to Johnny Gargano would be unbelievable too.
So Johnny had a shot the whole along.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah, but I mean, at least with Samoa Joe, it's a believable matchup.
Oh yeah,
if Joe beats him,
choke against choke, it's good. Every element makes sense for this to be like a great ending for a run for Karrion Kross on NXT.
And now, if you wanted to get major heat because he beat up Regal, whatever, have Joe choke out Scarlett. That would be
if they do that. That would be like
they never will though. But man, that would be legit.
That's not those days have are long gone. But thank you so very much, family, to every single one of you. This is the NXT review. Don't forget to give the video a like, subscribe. Also, give the bell notifications, hit it, because we always put content. And don't forget, tomorrow we have AEW for every single one of you, where else they can find us, Paul.
And then, guys, make sure you follow us, Rope Break, on Facebook, the OG Rope Break on Twitter, Original Rope Break on Instagram and on Twitch. And then we also have, of course, right here on YouTube, the home of the #1 podcast in the YouTube wrestling community, the Original Rope Break.
There's only one thing that is left to say, and that is...